Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. What's up? Who shot John? Who's on first? Saturday and I are going to Rome on Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. Before we go on the yacht. And we're going to may or may not touch base with the Vatican. Their time schedule is fluid, as they say. But to the extent that we'll be there, we can adhere to their schedule if they wish to talk to me. They may or may not. It depends. Questions?
Mr. Peña.
Okay. You have a mic. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I know we're all dipshits, but tell us, are we the average dipshits? Are we lower than the average dipshit?
No.
Or how the average dipshit?
Now, I don't normally say good question, but that's a good question. A few of you in the room are above the scale, but only a few. Most of you in the room are at the norm. You're afraid of this, afraid of that, even though there's no reason that you can really differentiate that you're afraid, but you are. A couple of you are at the lower end. I don't have to point out those. Everybody in the room knows who those are. Doesn't mean you're not going to make it, but you're going to be hard. It's going to be harder for you. Your background, your social economic milieu, how you were raised, with money, without money, beat it or not beating, but you know who you are. What's most important is what you do starting tomorrow morning. Because a lot of groups that over 31 years that sounded pretty good wound up not being pretty good because they couldn't pull the trigger. They couldn't take action. And I don't need to go through all the reasons why you can't take action. You already have heard them from me ad nauseum. And down deep inside, you've known them. I mean, the kid that's going off to the Foreign Legion, he knows why he's going off to the French Foreign Legion. For a young kid, that's a pretty ballsy thing. What he garners in having coached French Foreign Legion guys, I can speak with some authority, he either take the best of it or the worst of it. Since he seems eager to go there, the odds are that he'll profit from it. It's not like he's been kidnapped and thrown into it. But you weren't kidnapped and thrown into this. You came here of your free will. You paid for this with your own money, free will. Whether you decided in this week whether it was a good decision or a bad decision for you to come here, I don't know the answer to that. We don't ask for feedback and shit like that for a long time because we really don't care what you fucking think once you walk out the door. It's what you do that I'm concerned with, and I always have been. And as you do your first deal, you don't have to, but it would be nice if you contacted Kim and sent her the details of your first deal. And we kind of keep track of that. I'm going to send out an email in the new year. I'm going to be 79 in a few days. I'm going to send out an email in the new year in conjunction with my 80th birthday, which will be next year. It would be nice for all the people that I haven't, the millions that I have not been in contact with, because 99% of the people that have used QLA I've never met, to update my files. Now, whether I get a big response or not a big response, I don't know. I'm fairly confident I'm going to get a big response from, I don't know about a jillion people. But it's what you do from this point forward that makes all the difference. You're not doing it for me. If you need the excuse or the rationale, I'm doing it for my family. That's fine. I did it for me. I wasn't a hypocrite enough to say I'm doing it for my family. Some of you will need that crutch. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. But as long as you know deep down inside, I mean, you're doing it for you, you know. What's your legacy? When you cash it in, what are people going to say, write, or do vis-a-vis, what have you left? Have you left anything positive? Most of you in this room haven't done shit. So, i.e., being honest, candid, and legitimate, how can they write positive shit? Although almost every column that's written about a dead guy or a dead gal is positive. But if you read between the lines, they haven't done dick. Are they going to write the same about you? Did you do anything? No, I've done a lot of shit, you know. I already know that. My legacy is more important to my kids than me. I don't give a fuck. 100 or 200 years from now, they're going to write that I created a new methodology for poor people to get rich. You know, I'll be long dead before that's written. And certainly my kids aren't going to write it. And so it's what do you want to leave? But I'm not for the afterlife. What are you going to do now, and how are you going to create wealth and enjoy the money today? You're all just young. 2 or 3 of you are in your 50s, which is nothing. I mean, are you going to have a good time? You know, are you going to be the party animal you weren't in high school? Are you going to be the party animal you weren't in the college? Are you going to be the party animal? No. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I mean it in a positive sense. Are you going to have some fucking fun? You know? It's your choice. And admittedly, the more money you have, it's easier to have fun. Everybody in this room is at a different stage in life. How we define fun is different. I know what going on this big yacht, it's going to cost, I don't have much, but about a fucking bunch of money. And the into space shit and all this other stuff. But that's fun for us. You know, I don't need to do that. I can sit on since we are in cash, we can sit on our money till we die and not, better the world with it. You know, does Putin think I'm better in the world? No. Do certain other people in the world think I'm better in the world? No. But we are, Sal and I believe very strongly, we are better in the world, We're helping kids go to college that wouldn't be able to go to college. We're helping kids to eat that wouldn't be able to eat, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we've honed in on the schools I went to because it's easier for me to relate when I go on those campuses and I see these little dipshit kids. And even though they say, thank you, Mr. Peña, et cetera, I see our money is going in the right place. And that's why we have a very strict criteria to where we give our money. And one of you asked about us giving you the money, and I told you either that day or the next day that why you didn't qualify. By that way, that guy's got a plethora of knowledge about contracts, and he told me earlier tonight that as I predicted, he's your best friend now, but he does have a lot of fucking knowledge. And in some ways, it's, I don't want to say easier now, but the benefits of the contract system are more definitive now. You can really tell where you can go and get contracts and benefit from in my judgment, the flawed contract system. Some of you will do it, most of you won't. I'm tired of trying to figure out why you don't. I don't really give a fuck, really. But I do know it works. And you've heard, from the Professor Raymond down, for whatever reason it works. So it's up to, how high do you want the mountain that you have to climb? A great book, Atlas Shrugged. How far do you want to push up that atlas of shit? How hard do you want, I'd want to do it as least as possible. Some of you may have death wishes in the room, and so you want to beat yourself. But there are opportunities there that you can not get wealthy overnight. The black kid we talked to earlier, he's, $600,000 a month net to him. It's better than poking you out with a sharp stick. It's your choice. But you got to take action. And one thing I do credit, he pulls the trigger. He tells you how to pull the fucking trigger. He tells you how to take action. And for that, I admire him. Because of all the people that I've trained in 31 years, those people are few and far between. You've heard the Goomba brothers say, most of them aren't going to do anything. You've heard Thomas say, most of them aren't going to do anything. And that's true. And I'm not making it easier, but what they should be saying is most of you aren't going to take action now. I'm not letting you off the hook, but most of you aren't going to do dick now, in the present, for all the reasons we've talked about. Now, I've been doing this 31 years. I want you to just fucking take action. I don't want you to wait 11, 12, 13 years, but God forbid, Allah forbid, some of you will. Somebody in this room is going to have a stroke. Be incapacitated for 10, 12 years. Why are we all looking at you, Manchester?
Having a stroke. I thought for a second he was having a stroke.
I had a headache.
Anyway, somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to get sick. Something's going to happen. And because most of you in this room suffer from empathy and sympathy. I don't. I bullshitted with the Indian kid. If he died there, Duncan, drag him out. I mean, that's it. That's the extent of my feeling. Although salad, I made a fucking ton. Illegal how much money we made.
How would you feel if we got results, though? You don't give a shit if
No. That's the only feeling I'm going to have is if you have results. Don't darken, put a shadow on my fucking door or gate if you don't have results. When we get results, you will get results. Some slower, some faster. I know that if you all went out, balls to the wall, running towards the gunfire, you're going to have successes. Some of them are going to be minor, some will be mediocre, and some will be major. But the system is it's almost flawless. If you pull the trigger and you go after it, you're gonna do stuff I might not have done, but stuff. I mean, there's so many things available now that it's criminal is the wrong word because that implies something bad, but there's just tremendous. One of the reasons that the 13, 14, and 15-year-olds can do this, now, with the greatest respect to everybody in the room, which is other than the 18-year-old that's in the room, because it's so fucking easy. Why would you sit with a 13, 14-year-old to sell your fucking business to him? Are you fucking brain dead? I guess. There's no other reason. Forget the embarrassment. You're 31 and blah, blah, 54. Why in God's name would any adult sell anything to a 13, 14-year-old? Because they're desperate. You still don't believe that. There's no other reason to sell to a fucking teenage kid. And once you get the what do you call it, bit in your mouth, and once you have the taste of blood, fuck, why didn't I do this before? Et cetera, et cetera. And the kids, we don't have any, we have an 18-year-old, okay. But I mean, who's young enough, who's going to go off and be in the French Foreign Legion. God bless you, thank you for your service. But how are these kids doing it? Because they don't have the bag as you do. You do, and you do. As shitty as they may have been brought up, they don't have the same baggage. course, Carlene wasn't brought up shitty. And Ellie's kids weren't brought up shitty. And so some of these kids, they've been doing QLA since they're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. The TK haven't been brought up shitty. Not in a perfect world. There is no perfect world. But they're out there swinging for the fences. And, of course, me, I get emotional when I be around these kids. And then they give me the little power handshake, and they got their little bow tie like Malcolm X. Fuck! What if you had been doing this since you're 8, 9, 10? There's no limit to what you could have accomplished. But just because you're not 8, 9, 10, 11, and you're 25, 28, 35, or 40, you can still do it. You can still do it. And normally I would ask one of the kids, there's no kids here. You're not a real adult to me, but you're a kid, but you're not 12, 13 years old. But when we ask these 12 or 13 years old, the adults are mostly full of shit. And if you really think clearly through what you've said, you're full of shit. And when you go home or go back to, the cave or wherever you are, they're not going to tell you, for the most part, they're full of shit. Now, Sally is a great leveling monitor for me because, if I get out of balance, which I do quite often because my alligator mouth overloads my hummingbird ass all the time, she'll say, Dan, I think you're over the top. Now, when I promised to bring 1 billion pounds to Angus, I knew how to do it. I had already made the context how to do it, and it was already in process. I know how to bring 1 billion pounds here. Nobody that's run for politics ever in the history of the UK knows how to do it like I know how to do it. And you go to the companies, they want to write off shit at the end of the fiscal year, etc. Just like I taught you. Nobody's going to do that. And I've said it on YouTube for 22 months, and to date, unless they did something today, nobody is going to Deutsche Bank or BP or whoever, what are you writing off? How can we get you to invest here? But it's not easy. You can go to the big accounting firms after you practice, and, what are you writing off? After you have all those guys sign that contract, I wish I was in the room to see that, because I have been in the room when you're making the initials. A bunch of people are going to get up and leave. Your lawyers are going to tell you no. But you can have more. What? Okay, but I mean, you're going to have more fun than you had when you were the best fun you had. Yeah,
We had a PAGA lawsuit, cost us like $750,000. I'd rather not have that. I'd rather just sit in the room and let them sign it.
And most will sign it. And then, somebody from the press is going to say, don't you feel bad about taking advantage of whoever? And your answer is either no or no comment.